Hi everyone. Today we're going to be journaling from a biography of Gandhi. And this is in the introduction, and I found it very interesting because it's quoting Martin Luther King Jr. So it says, in a few short years, Martin Luther King Jr. was studying Gandhi at Morehouse College, Crozier Seminary, and Boston University, and would emerge to teach the West the wisdom of this great peacemaker from the East. And this is him quoted in his first book, Stride Toward Freedom. As I delved deeper into the philosophy of Gandhi, King wrote, my skepticism concerning the power of love gradually diminished, and I came to see for the first time its potency in the area of social reform. Prior to reading Gandhi, I had about concluded that the ethics of Jesus were only effective in individual relationships. The turn the other cheek philosophy and the love your enemies philosophy were only valid, I felt, when individuals were in conflict with other individuals. When racial groups and nations were in conflict, a more realistic approach seemed necessary. But after reading Gandhi, I saw how utterly mistaken I was. Gandhi was probably the first person in history to lift the love ethic of Jesus about mere interaction between individuals to a powerful and effective social force on a large scale. For Gandhi, love was a potent instrument for social and collective transformation. It was in this Gandhian emphasis on love and nonviolence that I discovered the method for social reform that I had been seeking. I came to feel this was the only morally and practically sound method open to oppressed people in their struggle for freedom. I had come to see that the Christian doctrine of love operating through the Gandhian method of nonviolence was one of the most potent weapons available to African Americans in the struggle for freedom. Christ furnished the spirit and the motivation, while Gandhi furnished the method. When I first read this, I was very surprised because when you think of nonviolence, you think of Gandhi and you think of Martin Luther King Jr. So to learn that he was actually skeptical of Gandhi before becoming this great peacemaker was kind of unbelievable. And so I want to journal about how or what skepticism do we face when loving ourselves. And if you're thinking, whoa, too much, think of the skepticism you face when loving another person or another group. This can be a person at work, this can just be a greater country, nation, whatever. And just kind of dive deep into that. What is blocking me from this, as King put it, Gandhian method of love and collective transformation? So, 5 minutes. Let me start the clock. All right, let's do it. Okay, 5 minutes. This was good because even though I think I've really improved in liking myself, there's still work to be done. So when thinking of skepticism toward loving myself, it's the biggest blocker is comparison of this ideal image I have of myself. And that kind of ties back to our last Tuesday video about the substitute life, the fantasy of this perfect day-to-day world that we wish we lived in. So similarly, there's this kind of ideal Emily Claire that exists in my head, and so it prevents me from loving yourself, and I guess more specifically being at peace, being present to who I am right now. So I'll have this wheel of thought of taking an instance in the past and be like, ooh, I wasn't a good listener there. I went straight to solution mode. Or another instance of, something I procrastinated on. Shouldn't have done that. And look at the ripple effect of me procrastinating on that thing. And so it's this constant cycle. And so I know that, to eliminate that comparison block, I just have to always remind myself that ideal image is not real. That ideal Emily Claire is just not a thing at all. And I can only be with this version here right now. So that was for the self. Now for others, I focused more on like a relational level. And I think my biggest blocker is pride. I think I spend a lot of time thinking about things, looking into things, researching, whether it be like for work or friends or whatever. And when I'm coming to someone, I'm just looking for you to tell me I'm right because I've done all this work. And so loving others in this instance is just being able to accept what they have to say and that it's valid, and accept that I don't know everything, even though I spend hours looking into something or thinking about something. And I think, like the phrase closed-minded, it's more like I'm closed-eared. Like I don't want to listen if it's not validation. And so that really distances myself from other people and loving them or accepting them. So I liked this journal for 5 minutes. I think Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. are really just thought-provoking people to read about, and their kind of their journey towards love and loving on an individual and collective level. And I think relating that to ourselves just for 5 minutes was really good for me. So I hope it was good for you too, and comment any thoughts you've had while journaling, and I'll see you next time.